Very excited to welcome you here at Hunter. You're here for virtual parent orientation. This is the first time you're hearing sort of about what's to come for your student from here on. So we want to make sure that you get all the tools you need on what to expect in the next couple of months before they start college and so forth. I want to introduce you to Eira Vainan, who is the Vice President of Student Affairs at Hunter, who's going to give you a few words of encouragement.
Yes, indeed. My name is Eira Auravan, and I'm the Dean of Students and Vice President for Student Affairs. And I expected to see all of your faces here, but I guess I'm not seeing them. But in any case, it is a total pleasure for me to be the Vice President of Students and for me to work at Hunter College. Titles don't really matter that much, but what we do as workers. And I have, as you will see here, a wonderful team, a group of individuals who are dedicated to nothing but our students, your students. So as a result, we are going to hope to give you a really kind of exciting evening about knowing a little bit about what we are. And also we ask that you ask questions later on that will, I don't want you to leave this video before having them all answered and you feeling really quite pleased about what you hear. So, let's start a little bit about who we are and what we're about. What you need to know is that this is really a transformative year for your students and probably for you too, in that they have left high school and they are now in college, and we consider them as adults. I know I've been there where you are right now, so I find it hard to believe that at that age my daughter was an adult, or perhaps even later than that, but they are. We treat them as adults, and we will not give any information about them to anyone unless they agree to have that information, and that includes you. And so when you ask, how is my daughter doing? I would say, please start a conversation with your daughter or with your son, so that you can hear from them, because we're not allowed to give any of this information. It's a federal rule, and actually it's a very good one to help you talk to your children. Also, I want to mention something about Hunter, in the sense that this is a place where your children can learn to be leaders, learn to know about subjects they never heard about, and learn to enjoy that they do know something about. So we have many majors, over 30 majors of all sorts. They can try them out. And part of the program of the very first year is to have all kinds of courses that they take. And usually they will latch on to one or the other areas. And then we, of course, have a group of advisors. We have a group of counselors. We have a group of career professionals. We have a group of athletes, and as well as international students here to help them through. You should also know that Hunter is one of those places that is probably one of the most diverse places in the world, is that we're like a Noah's Ark. We have at least two of everyone. We have at least two of everyone here. And as a result, we have the immigrants, the recent immigrants, the firstborn going to college. We have those whose parents have been to college. We've got everyone. I'm an immigrant, just as many others who are on this Hollywood square that we have, immigrants, and we enjoy being here at the college and helping others thrive. And you will notice that your children, our students, will be different, I hope, at the end of 4 years. And you should know, and I'm shamelessly saying this, that I hope they graduate in 4 years. And we will do everything in our power to advise these students, to help them move along so they can graduate in 4 years. We plan a program for them. And as a result, we're very keen on being able to guide them as such. Some may take a little bit longer, but not too much longer. I'm somebody who pushes the 4 years as well. Now, I want to mention something that is really important that I have learned as a parent of a student in college who actually graduated, which I'm very pleased to report, is that you have to let go. You have to start letting go. You have to start letting them come to school by themselves. You have to stop asking them every minute, so how you doing? What you do in your courses? Oh, you only got an A minus? Oh, where's the A? Never say things like that. Never, ever. What you can be, and what I learned, and what many on this screen have learned, is that you have to become interested. Be interested in what they do and ask them, how's your school going? What classes are you taking? Not whether you're doing an A or B work, but what classes are you taking? If someone says, I'm taking art history, make sure that one of the parents or grandparents or uncles or somebody doesn't say, why are you taking that? What do you need art history for? They need art history. They need dance. They need chemistry. They need political science, urban studies, history, English, all of those kinds of things. And ask them to explain what they're studying. What you're doing is that you're giving them a certain amount of power over what they're doing. And you know yourself, if you know something, you can explain it. If you don't know something, you can't explain it. So as a result, be very interested in what they're doing, and you will know that you will make them feel better, that in some way they are interested in your progress or in your standing still, or they may have a particular issue or problem. And we have professional licensed counselors as well. If they just want to go and talk to them, you don't have to have a mental illness by any means. You can just want to talk to some of the counselors and see what they want to say about it. You know, my mother's too pushy about this, and I like to be able to, I love her. I like to be able to explain to her why I'm not taking computer science as a major, okay? Other than the fact that I'm failing all the courses there, I'm not taking it as a major. So you have to kind of go with what they, let them lead you. Let them lead you. Because you will find that if you lead them, and if you're constantly on them, because we are, I am, and all the others are. 11th floor at the Hunter College is devoted to all the advisors, all the counselors, all the people who are absolutely on top of them. So that as a result, you need to let go a little bit, because our main duty is really to care for them. And as you may have seen on the side of our building is that the care of Mihi Kura Futuri, the care of the future is on us, is ours. So we, as the older people, as the sort of semi-adults as well, we try in every way possible to guide that future so that they are successful, they are happy. We have lots and lots of classes that you will discover hearing about, but we also have activities outside the college, and we have my colleague, Misha Smith, is going to talk about them there as well. We have clubs. We have over 100 clubs. They also take trips, both within the country and within the city. They also have soccer clubs, religious clubs, cultural clubs, you name it, they have it. And you should encourage your student to be involved in all of them, not at the neglecting of their academic studies, but being involved, because that way you begin to know something about most things. Because the more things you know, the more interesting you are as an adult and as a student. If you can participate in conversations because of the knowledge that you have and the interest that you have, the more you get to know people. And that's part of what we do to be able to live in this society, especially now, but to be able to live in this society. So we care about your students. We want to know what they're doing. We want to guide them. We want to say that we are available and we welcome them to come and talk to us. And I am very pleased that you are here. We're just thrilled that we have so many parents or guardians or caretakers or just sort of hangers-on who want to know about Hunter College with us tonight. So welcome again. As I said, my name is Aya Ravanin. I'm the VP for Student Affairs, and I'm on the 11th floor of the East Building. And so if they wander here in my office, just tell them to say hi. I'm here. So thank you again. And thank you, Irina, who is our Director of Admissions, for organizing all of these Hollywood Square people, including you.
Hey, thank you so much for the warm welcome. Want to give everybody a heads up that we are in webinar mode, and what that means for you is that you're actually not going to be on camera with us, but there will be an opportunity for you to ask questions. So if you can, please focus on the session. We are here to make sure that you have everything you need to make your students successful in the fall. But then if you do have questions that come up along the way, make sure you put them in the Q&A once those come through to you. Next up, I have Joe Fantozzi, who is the Vice President of Student Affairs at Hunter.
Thanks, Arena. Hi, everyone. It's such a pleasure to be here with you this evening. My name is Joe Fantozzi. I'm the Assistant Vice President of Student Affairs and Enrollment here at Hunter College. First of all, just congratulations to you and your students for making this far. We are so excited to welcome them in just a few short months and embrace them into the Hunter College community. This evening, this short program that we have planned for you here is we're going to go through some of the basics, right? We're going to teach you how to best support your student, what they can expect during their journey here, and also how to make this transition, which often can be a tough one for everyone involved into college. So I'd like to start off with just talking about some tips, some basic tips and things about what to expect. So the first thing that I'd like to talk about is just waiting for the slide to advance, a little slow. Okay, your new student lifestyle. So we're going to go through a couple of transitions that you can expect for you and also for your student. The first thing is your student that you are supporting. You may start to notice that they may be living a different lifestyle when they're coming to college than opposed to high school. Students often have a less structured daily routine than they had in high school. There's going to be more free time in between classes. But also alongside of that, there's going to be greater responsibility to manage it effectively. And that's where you could come in handy as well. You might notice changes in things like sleeping habits or eating schedules, their social activity, especially as they navigate having to commute to an urban campus. Some of you that grew up in New York City, that are here from New York City, may have experienced this already for high school, but nonetheless, it's most of the community here at Hunter that will be experiencing this. So your students are going to be juggling all sorts of multiple priorities. So whether that's coursework or part-time jobs and internships, hopefully joining clubs, which you're going to hear a little bit more about later, making new friends. It can both be very energizing, but also potentially overwhelming. So it's something for you to look out for in your student. They're also going to be heavily relying on digital tools. This is likely not something that's going to be new for all of them. I assume that their work during high school and perhaps even middle school had this as part of their life. Here at Hunter, we're pretty much entirely digital, and we're going to be teaching you how to navigate all of these tools and how to support your student in doing so. The second is it is entirely common for your new student to be nervous, right? Both you as parents, guardians, supporters, and also your student to be nervous during this transition and during perhaps even their first year here. Every student is different, but there's certainly a lot of common concerns. Just want to go through a couple of them right now with all of you so you know what to expect. Some common concerns could include, will I make friends? How do I make friends? Am I in the right major? How do I pick a major? What happens if I fall behind academically? All of these thoughts creep into the heads of every student that's college bound. Some students, and we're particularly concerned about our first generation students for this one, can feel what's called imposter syndrome or question whether they belong, especially someone who's the first in their family to go to college or has never had an experience like this before. This is something that we pay very close attention to, and you should as well. The answer is yes. Of course, they belong here. They've made it this far. They've been admitted to Hunter, and we are so excited to have them here. And they're going to utilize the tools that we learn about today to help them navigate all the challenges that do lie ahead. The third thing is, and this could be a tough one because let's face it, if your student got accepted here at Hunter, they're used to being a strong academic student, right? They probably have a very strong academic record. And here, the transition to college can be a difficult one. It is very possible for an academic challenge to surface almost right away. And many students sometimes are hesitant to ask for help at first. We encourage you to encourage your student to please ask for help. You're going to learn a little bit later on as to what that means and how you can help, how you can get the help here at Hunter. It's very normal for your student to feel perhaps even a little lost at the beginning of their studies here at Hunter, but we have the resources to support them both academically and also for their mental wellness support as well. Okay. Next, you could expect your student to have brand new experiences, right? So they're going to, even with just starting with orientation, they're going to have on-campus experiences and off-campus experiences that are likely brand new for them. They're going to be participating in internships, potential research opportunities, leadership programs, spending a lot of time here on campus, or at least we hope so. They're going to encounter all sorts of diverse ideas and also different learning styles. And this is the type of transformation that we hope your student makes during college, and also develops the critical thinking skills to take all of this information and start developing really strong informed opinions for themselves. Your role as a parent, guardian, and supporter will change also. You're used to being the manager, right, of your student. You're basically going to be making a shift from manager to coach. Your student still needs you, but it's going to be in a different way now. So we want you to encourage independence as much as possible, but also continue to check in, like Aya was saying, continue to check in on them, and check in with empathy as well. This change can be difficult for them. Perhaps rather than saying, did you do your homework or did you do your classwork, consider asking a little bit about their class experience, or reminding them of all the support services that they have here available for them at Hunter to make sure that they're taking advantage of all of it. We encourage you all to be patient during this time of transition, and celebrate all the small wins along the way, even before those first semester grades come out. And lastly, your child will likely transform in some way, shape, or form, and that's okay, and something we actually encourage here. That's something that college is all about. We will challenge your child to help them think critically, listen to different perspectives, and also advocate for themselves. We hope that they develop time management, problem-solving skills, and also collaboration skills that's not just helpful for academics, but also who they become as adults, and also as they move on into a career. The student and your student who walks into their first class at Hunter is certainly not going to be the same student who's going to walk across that stage in graduation in 4 years. And that transformation is extremely powerful, and we're really excited to work with your students throughout the next 4 years. So with that, I'd actually like to transition to the next slide and introduce you to my colleague, Misha Smith, who's one of our assistant deans in student affairs, and I'm sure who your students will get to know very well during their time here.
Hi, everyone, and thank you so much for joining and joining us tonight and talking a little bit about how we're going to prepare your student to be successful at Hunter and how we can prepare you to ensure that they're successful at Hunter. As Joe and Aya spoke about, I am Misha Smith. I'm an assistant dean for student life here, and that essentially means that I wake up every day and just think about what can I do to ensure that your student is having the best experience here at Hunter. And so a lot of that means preparing yourselves and also preparing your student for some of the things that don't always come to mind when you think about how to be a successful college student. And that's what we're here tonight to discuss. So thank you. Keep sending those questions into the Q&A box. We have a whole team that's working on answering them for you all. But I want to talk about some of the changes that you should be prepared to see in your student and how you can prep them to be successful. One of the biggest things that we always say to students as they start at Hunter is you have to prepare for college. It's a planned activity. And what that means is that you have to have a plan to be able to afford college and to make it the least stressful environment as possible. Things will pop up within the next 4 years. Changes will happen to families, to structures, and to plans. But we like to prepare students and families as much as possible to ensure that you all know what you're getting ready for, and your student has a plan and is prepared to work with you on it. So first and foremost, we love to talk about preparing your budget for college. As you all know, and many of you have already seen, we have a robust financial aid office here and federal aid and state aid that will help prepare your student to pay for their tuition. But tuition is secretly not the only cost of college. One of the most unforeseen costs that most families run into are planning for things like books. Every class is going to have a set of books and requirements that they're going to have for your students to work with, to work on, and to interact with. A lot of us think of books as like these big textbooks that they're going to carry around, and it's not always that. Lots of times they're buying access to things that will be completely online. Sometimes they are physical books. Lots of times they're also workbooks, or even paying for access to a certain type of website where their faculty members are going to be sharing articles and books with them. Please, 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 the best way for you all to know what books or any sort of tools that your student will need for their class is to look at their syllabus. Every class that your student has a syllabus that will be connected to it. And that syllabus is the professor letting your student know everything that they don't only need to buy or have access to be successful in the class, but also the expectations for the class, the deadlines for things throughout the entire semester, even when their final will be. All of that they will have access to once classes start, and they can be able to prepare for what they will need to have for that class. So please be sure to tell your student to check their syllabi, keep an eye on it, and work with their professor if they feel like they can't access something or they can't afford something that they need to access. We are always here in Student Affairs to help with some basic emergency funding to allow students to be able to get access to the things that they need. But this is something that students should really be prepared for every semester at the beginning of each semester. So books is a huge thing, but your student is going to be here a lot for a lot of days and for a lot of hours at a time. And they're going to need to eat. And that is a cost that comes along with college as well. Hunter does not have a food program plan. We don't have a room and board full plan for students to buy food every day or have meals access to them. But what we do have is a robust cafeteria where they can buy items a la carte. That cafeteria has halal and kosher items. It has vegetarian items, gluten-free items, and it has access to students from early in the morning until 7 p.m. in the evening. Students are also welcome to explore the Upper East Side and our neighborhood to find meals as well. It is a very popular thing for them to do. So we have things like Starbucks and Dunkin' and Chipotle and Just Salad and all of those normal things that you expect to see around in Manhattan. But we also have microwaves. Don't let your student tell you that they have to buy lunch every day. They do not. They can bring items in from home, items from their dorm, and warm them up here on campus. We have microwaves throughout our cafeteria and all of our little dining areas. The other important thing is that many of your students are going to be traveling back and forth to campus. That might even be multiple times a day. And they're going to need a Metro card. Unlike New York City high schools, not every student is supplied with a Metro card here. That is something that they are going to have to purchase on their own. Planning for those costs, especially if your student will also have to take the Long Island Railroad or the Metro North, those are additional costs as well that should be built in and thought through. And then just general school supplies. Of course, they're going to need notepads and books and things like that, but they're also going to need some technology. They're going to need to have a device that does some basic word processing. This does not mean that they need the newest Apple cutting edge laptop that is out there right now. They need something that can do basic web searches and basic word processing as well. And some of those are really affordable options out there. And anything that they can have at that point will be really helpful to make sure that they're successful in class and taking notes and being able to complete assignments. But it's also important to make sure that your student remembers and learns about all of the CUNY discounts they get with their student ID. Being a college student in New York City gets you a lot of discounts and a lot of breaks. And that can range from things like going to the Guggenheim for free or any New York City museum, along with going to Broadway shows and things like that. But there are a lot of technology breaks and a lot of technology discounts that exist for New York City and CUNY students in specific, along with a lot of assistance that they can get through the library to get free subscriptions to things like the New York Times and a lot of other subscriptions that they're probably interested in. And so those are some of the things that you want to prepare ahead of time when you're thinking about budget and you're thinking about tech. The other really important thing is that you need to prepare yourself a little bit. Your student is changing, and that can be really difficult. And as Aya and Joe already touched upon, your student is going to be evolving, and they're going to need to have a little bit more independence. As Joe mentioned, we expect your student to be able to advocate for themselves, to be able to prepare it themselves, and come to the offices that they need to ask for the assistance. The assistance is here, but they've got to learn to ask for it. And this is a part of their development as student leaders and as adults. So please encourage them to make those independent choices. Encourage them to come up and just introduce themselves to their faculty member, to make sure that they make an appointment with their advisor. We're here to help them, but that initiative needs to be taken by your student to look for that extra assistance. And when they start looking and making those independent choices, you'll start to see them blossom. You allow for more of that academic exploration. Let them go to a music class. Let them go to a dance class. Let them go to a geography class. It's a great opportunity for students to start to feel like they're exploring their actual intellectual curiosity and not just performing the things that they have to get through. This is different from high school, folks. We want them to be interested in what they're learning, and we want them to choose their own path. And the best thing about that option is that there's never an opportunity for them to be wasting time. They're here, they're taking classes. Every class they take is going to fulfill some sort of requirement that they need for graduation. So this first year is about exploring, it's about taking opportunities to learn some of the basics, but also to try new things and explore. And when that happens, you should expect to see some changes. You're going to see students that ask you more questions, who are more inquisitive, who are learning things in their class that they probably never heard before in high school. That's the goal. That's what we want them to be doing. So please encourage that curiosity, encourage those questions. And if they become too much, send them back over to us and we'll try to answer them too. And also prep your student. You all are such important parts of preparing your student to be successful in college. And it doesn't just matter this summer. They're going to need that continual support throughout. Many of you know that we have a new student orientation. There's also an online orientation that all of your students can access now and go through. If you're interested, take a peek at it. Let them tell you a little bit about what they've learned in that orientation. We're going to give them a lot of information on the online orientation and the in-person orientation that happens in August. That information can feel overwhelming. We're going to give them stuff that they can take home. I always tell students, give this to someone in your family, someone who's going to be a part of your support network, because you are going to be the one who reminds them in November when they're taking midterms and it's 2 a.m. and they're super stressed out, that there's places to go for help. There's tutoring, there's academic support, and there's personal support too to assist them along the way. They just sometimes need a little helping nudge, and we expect you to be that nudge. So please don't ever feel that you shouldn't be pushing them or asking them questions about if they need help and if they need support. Along with that new student orientation, tell them to stop by campus during the summer. If they want to take a peek, if they want to see what it looks like, if they want to figure out their commute. We love seeing people on campus early, and we love getting the opportunity to help your students figure out what their fall is going to look like. And finally, one of the last things I want to mention is a policy that allows us to talk to you about your student and allows your students some privacy that they really much need as they grow and become more independent. That's our freedom. That's the Federal Education Rights and Permissions Act, and that's called FERPA. We'll hear a lot about FERPA. It makes it so that we as a college cannot share any specific information with anyone, including parents, about the student, unless we have a signed waiver from the student. That includes things like grades. Have they been coming to class? Did they show up and make an appointment with their advisor? Those are things that we can't tell you unless your student has signed that waiver. So we don't not tell you things because we don't want to keep you in the dark. That's not the goal. But the goal is to have an independent, free-thinking student that can advocate for themselves and that can make their decisions and share with you the information where they think that it would be helpful. If you want to have access to that information, though, have a conversation with your student about what they would like to share, and they can take a look on our website for that FERPA waiver form. But please know that we've got your student. We are here to help, and we want to ensure that as many things as possible go as smoothly as possible. So please tell your student to engage with us early throughout this summer, and we're so excited to see them on campus for orientation as well. I'm going to pass it along to Christy, who is a part of our advising team, to talk a little bit more about the work that your student will be doing in class and the support that we have here on academics as well.
Thank you, Misha.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Christine Davis, and I'm the Director of Advising at Hunter. It's a pleasure to speak with you this evening, and I look forward to meeting all of your students very soon over the summer. When it comes to academic support, Hunter College connects students with what we like to think of as an advising network. So as part of this network, all students are assigned an academic advisor within the first few weeks of the semester. This person is going to be their main point of contact throughout their time at Hunter, and we can help them with any questions or concerns relating to academics. Of course, that might be their class schedule and class registration, but we can also talk to them about choosing a major, exploring their interests, or just general support. We work very closely with all the folks that are here speaking with you this evening, as well as many, many others across the entire campus. Students will have access to their advisor using our Navigate platform, which they're going to learn more about through the online orientation that Misha was just talking about, as well as at the in-person orientation this coming August. And through this platform, they'll be able to view their advising assignment, make appointments with their advisor. We offer sessions for students both in person and virtually to be as convenient and flexible as possible. And they can also message us and get in touch with us through there, as well as through email and, other traditional methods such as phone or coming to the office. In addition to our professional advising team, we also have a peer advising center where students can drop in for kind of quick questions or on-the-go assistance. And this is kind of our point of contact for many of our incoming students. And we encourage you even now to stop by our student center. The information is on our website, or we can drop it in the chat. It's in 417 West Building. If they have those quick questions, peer advisors are available throughout the summer to support our first-year students. In addition to assigned academic advisors through the Office of Advising, students are also assigned faculty advisors. And these folks are experts in their specific departments within the department of a major that a student has declared, or even if they're thinking about. These folks can also assist with course planning or course registration, but they are really an asset when it comes to connecting students with professional opportunities. My colleague Christina is going to talk more about that soon. But things like research, things like internships, even just information sessions, right? Getting to know kind of how they chose that discipline, and connecting students with opportunities through the classroom and office hours. Hunter also has a pre-professional advising office that is separate from the Office of Advising, separate from faculty advising, and it's specifically tailored to working with and meeting with students who are interested in graduate or professional programs, particularly in the pre-health areas, right? So pre-med, pre-dental, but they also support a variety of other disciplines as well. And it's a wonderful resource for students to think ahead. And when the time comes, get support with doing graduate school research or even applications or prepping for interviews, things like that. Unlike high school, as Misha was just talking about, students are not going to be required to see their advisor at Hunter, although we strongly, strongly encourage it at least once a semester. And this is a big change from high school, where students might have had guidance counselors that were kind of always looking over their shoulder or in touch with you, or pulling them out of class even, right, when a problem came up. That's not the case in college. So it's going to be really helpful to talk to your student about the importance of checking in with their advisor, or really any other support staff that they have a relationship with on campus, to do this regularly, and really how to self-advocate when they have questions or concerns. We're here to help, but we do expect students to kind of take that first step and raise their hand. And once they do that, kind of the world is their oyster. I've seen a lot of questions in the chat, and I'm sure many of you have questions about registering for classes for the fall semester. So professional academic advisors in the Office of Advising handle all course registration for incoming freshmen. So this is one less thing you all have to worry about. Our team is handling that. There is no expectation that students are coming in and memorizing the course catalog and knowing exactly what they need to do. It's your first semester. You have enough on your plate. This is something that we can take off and hopefully relieve some stress that you're getting off on the right track. So as long as your student has RSVP'd for orientation in August, they will receive a class schedule. Please don't panic if you haven't received one yet. We have lots and lots of students that we're working on every day. But in the coming weeks, you will receive more information on your student's schedule. So please encourage them to be checking their Hunter email and looking out for that. We use the information that students provide to us on essentially a course questionnaire that they are prompted to fill out when they RSVP for orientation to build their schedule, right? And we want to make sure that this aligns with their major, of course, but also any professional goals or other areas of interest, right? We also look at AP credit or early college credit. So please rest assured that if that's there, or even if it's coming, I know AP scores aren't usually available till July, we will look at that, and we will continue to make adjustments throughout the summer if that credit is coming a little bit later. And if your student is undecided about their major, we are still going to try to give them courses in the things that they tell us that they are interested in, so they can try it out and explore new things. This is really, really important. Our primary goal with registering students for classes is to ensure that they have the needed requirements that are going to keep them on track to a timely graduation. I promise you there will not be courses in their schedule that they don't need. We want them to progress and finish just as much as you and they do. It's really important to understand when looking at your student's schedule with them that not all classes are offered at all times, right? And again, our goal is to help them graduate on time. So that is what we prioritize, making sure they have what they need to do that. Again, more information will be sent in the coming weeks, including how to request modifications to a schedule if there's an extenuating circumstance, accommodation, religious, medical, or otherwise, that does require a student to have a certain type of schedule. After their first semester, students are able to create their own schedule and register for classes on their own. Again, we hope they are doing this in consultation with their advisor, but they will have that flexibility going forward. In addition to academic advising, Hunter has a really robust set of learning centers that students have access to. So these are tutoring centers that they can go to for additional academic support in a variety of subjects. So we have our Dolciani Math Center, the Skirball Center for Sciences, a language center, and a writing center. All of the tutoring services that Hunter provides are part of tuition. So you're never going to get an extra bill or a charge to meet with somebody in any of these areas. And I know a lot of students are sometimes hesitant to seek help. They might have had various experiences with tutoring in high school, but now that they're in college, I really hope that you and they will start to view asking for help and seeking tutoring as a strength. And the sooner that they can seek out those resources and start making use of them, the sooner they can be on track and continue to be successful, which is what we hope, they will find here. So we really encourage them to make use of these learning centers. Their websites, if you want to search for it on the Hunter homepage, have a ton more information. Again, we have appointments virtually and in person. And I can't stress enough how wonderful they are. So with all that being said, my colleague Christina is going to join in now to talk more about career and professional services.
Can you see me? Very good. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Christina Simonson. I'm the director of the Career Center here at Hunter College. We're thrilled to support your students' journey, not just academically, but professionally. Our mission in the Career Center is to encourage exploration, skill building, and career readiness so that every student graduates not only with a degree, but with the confidence and tools to thrive in today's workforce. So a little bit about what we offer. We guide students in discovering careers aligned with their interests and majors. So we offer one-on-one career advisement with a trained professional, resume and cover letter support, LinkedIn learning and LinkedIn profile building, internship and job search assistance. We put on robust career programming, just like career fairs, employer events, and alumni panels. And we also support with digital tools like Handshake, which is the college's job board database for events and opportunities, and Quincia, which is a virtual AI mock interview tool that students can practice and prepare for interviews 24/7. So when should your student visit? It's never too early to start. We encourage students to come in during their first year to explore options and begin developing career readiness skills early. We work with students at every stage from exploration to postgraduate planning. So what is your role? You play a big part. Please encourage your students to use our office often and early. Apply for internships, even if they're not exactly sure what they want to do once they graduate. This is a great opportunity to try on different hats and really develop their skills and experience that employers desire once they graduate. Talk about their strengths and interests, and encourage them to attend events and info sessions. It's how opportunities happen, right? Any opportunity is a networking opportunity, and you never know where there's connections can take you. So my final takeaway is our goal is simple. It's to help your student graduate with confidence, a strong resume, and real-world skills. We're to help every step of the way, and you can find us online or in person, and we look forward to working with your students soon. I'll also be available for questions at the end. And with that said, I'm going to pass it over to Caleb to discuss accessibility services.
Thank you so much, Christina. Yes, I'm actually going to be talking about the counseling services we have here at Hunter College. As Christina said, my name is Caleb Valentine. I'm both a psychological counselor and also a mental health educator here at Hunter College's Counseling and Wellness Services Center. We offer a number of different things at our counseling services, such as free and confidential time-limited counseling to all enrolled Hunter College students. So as soon as your students come in, they can come see us if they really wanted to. Um, we offer short-term psychotherapy, which entails attending an initial appointment with a counselor where a student may be able to discuss maybe issues that they might be having and receive a recommendation after a thorough consultation about what they might need. That could be that could be meeting with us, or that could be meeting also with an outside source, which in addition to having therapy in-house, we also offer a collaborative referral process where students are able to get connected with additional supports outside in the community that might be more helpful to them in regarding to their specific needs. Our office also provides same-day evaluation for students who are experiencing either a psychiatric emergency or who are experiencing imminent safety concerns that require immediate support that they might not have immediate access to. And we also offer a numerous psychoeducational workshops throughout the year for our students so they can learn skills such as advocating for themselves through communication, building stress tolerance, making sure that they have time management skills, and a number of different ones that we're hoping to collaborate and build up this coming year. Now, as I know you guys are all parents and you're all concerned for the well-being of your student, I just want to reaffirm what Joe and Misha have said, that this is a huge transition process, and that might be overwhelming for students who are coming in their freshman year. I encourage that if you start to notice that your child is struggling or dealing with any sudden life events that might pop up in their life, please push them to advocate for themselves by coming into our office and making an appointment. We can do that. You can do that in a number of ways, either through just walking in or also emailing us. I'll provide the information later on in today's session, or they can even call us. Our office is open Monday through Friday during fall and spring session from 9 to 5. And, once again, we're just really here to help support your student. I mean, it's literally my job and why I do what I'm passionate about. So I hope that they can self-advocate for themselves when they need it. And now I'm going to send it over to back to Irina to talk about our Office of Accessibility and Public Safety.
Awesome. Thank you, Caleb. And I think you started us off with a great statement. It is a big difference between you being in high school, a student being in high school and a student being in college. The biggest difference in the Office of Accessibility or even mental health counseling or just the concept of taking care of your own future and taking care of your own education is that this is really on the student. So you've heard a lot of us say today, you have to make sure that you communicate with the student from here on. A lot of the information will be shared only with the student. You are no longer the person who's going to be in charge of that education. You're no longer the person who's going to be doing all the legwork. It's going to be on the student. Office of Accessibility offers a ton of different services. So if you're looking for things like IEP, if you're looking for somebody who can help students take notes, if you're looking for any sort of accommodations that come with your student's education, at this point, that advocacy work, that chance to say, hey, this is what I need is going to be on the student. If you take a look at the Office of Accessibility website, there's a slew of resources that are available. There's a ton of different sort of things that the student can ask for. But again, a lot of that is going to be coming from the student. Office of Accessibility is absolutely phenomenal at Hunter. The big shift is that the student really will have to make sure that they set that first foot forward. They have to make sure to request those services. They will be submitting the paperwork. They will be the ones saying, hey, this is what I need to be successful at Hunter. Academic success goes far beyond just the classroom, and we want to make sure that the environment is also safe for our students at Hunter. So being at Hunter means a few different things. You're in the middle of the busiest city in the world. I will by far stand by the fact that this is the best city, but it also can feel a little bit of intimidating to some students, right? So you have to make sure that you have those expectations set with your student. Being New York City smart is a thing. Campus buildings are safe in the sense that we have public safety officers located at every entrance. Students are required to have their IDs, their mobile IDs on their phone, so hopefully they'll never forget them to enter the building. Students can't just bring visitors, they have to be signed in. There's a whole sign-in process, visitor process, right? So as a parent or supporter, you should know that once your student comes to Hunter campus, their safety is important to us. There will not be sort of an open door policy for everybody. We are open to students. Students need to respect that, and students need to be able to understand that that safety is for them. If you're meeting with your student, if you're like, hey, I want to take you out to lunch in your cafeteria, that's totally possible. But again, you got to make sure that you follow the protocols, you get signed in as visitors, and so forth. So know that once the student is on campus, they're safe with public safety officers around, there's staff walking around at all times, and they're here to answer questions. They're not just here to make sure that students have IDs on them. They're really a wealth of knowledge. They'll be able to help your students direct them to the right place. First day of classes, first week of classes may feel a little intimidating. I still take the wrong elevator to the wrong floor, probably 9 out of 10 times. So there will be public safety officers located around campus just to make sure that the students can ask questions for directions as well. Know that your student safety is again a priority, but that doesn't mean that their safety ends here. So this is a point where you talk to your student, talk a little bit about what does it mean to go to school in New York City. Perhaps that means lowering the volume on your headphones. Perhaps that means not using noise canceling headphones when you're on the subway, right? So being New York City smart is part of this transition where you have to understand that you're on your own, you're doing things on your own, and New York City is part of that on your own experience. So be sure to take 3 seconds of your time to say, hey, you're going on the subway, you're going on during rush hour, if your class is earlier, your class is later, whatever that may mean, and make sure to start that conversation with your students. Now, I will say that I am the person that's going to tell you about probably the best experience at Hunter, and I'm very, very biased because I do think that freshman orientation is something that's going to kick off their sort of journey to college. We are doing this parent orientation now. It's going to give you information on how you can prep your student. But that freshman orientation is for students only. It is an experience that will be like no other. So think of yourself when you start out something new. There's always questions, there's always excitement, there's always somebody who, you're always trying to find information and it seems like there's too much of it. And that's all true. Coming to an orientation day is really a life-changing experience to a lot of our first-year students. At the new student orientation, which is going to take place in August, freshmen will get their freshman fall 2025 class schedule. So as long as the student registers for classes, registers for orientation in August, the schedule for classes for fall 2025 semester will be built for them. It will be built on their interests. It will be built to make sure that they have a good kick-off semester to take care of all the general education and core requirements. So please, if you talk to your student, right, say, hey, have you registered for orientation? If you have not, perhaps we should look into the website and see how you can do that. I will guarantee you that the invitation has been sent to them already, probably about 6 times, if not more than that. So please make sure, again, you have the line of communication open. Registration for classes will happen for them. We will build that schedule, but they need to register for orientation. That is the only way to get a full class schedule. New student orientation will also cover a little bit of information about how to get their student ID. So I see a lot of questions in the Q&A. When do they take pictures? How do they do it? Folks, we've entered a whole new era of college-going culture. They will be able to upload their own photo ID into an online portal. They will be able to keep their ID on their phone. So they'll never be, hey, do I have my phone? Do I have my keys? Do I have my ID thing? They will literally be able to do all of that on their phone, but they do need to take action and make sure they actually do the steps that we're asking them to do. If they're not able to complete those steps for whatever reason, there will be assistance at orientation, but we want to make sure they get all this situated now, so that way there are no questions come August. They can have their ID ready to rock and roll already. So please make sure you encourage them to do this and read the instructions that have been sent to them. Another thing that's going to happen at orientation for your students is that they're going to learn about a ton of resources at Hunter. They'll learn about tutoring centers, about the advising centers, about how advising works, pre-professional, pre-law, pre-med tracks. They'll learn about athletics. They'll learn about everything that you can imagine that goes into college life at Hunter, all in one day. Please, please, please make sure that when they register for orientation and actually attend that orientation, that is where they will get the nitty-gritty sort of day-to-day stuff that they will need to have in order to complete their first semester successfully. A huge part of Hunter orientation is also meeting all these amazing student leaders that you see on the screen now and actually getting involved with student life. They will learn what it means to be part of the student community at Hunter. With undergraduate body of almost 17,000 students, our student life is pretty diverse. We have students who have clubs in academic interests, so think accounting society, right? Pre-dental society, pre-med society, but then there's a whole bunch of clubs that are a little more interest-based, right? So there's a crochet club, there's a anime club, there's a K-pop club, so things like that. So depending on what your student has interest in, think of it this way. If you're ever sitting in a room of 30, 100, 1,000 students, let's say, right, at orientation, the best way to meet friends is to have people of the same interest. So going to orientation will give them a chance to actually talk to students who are starting in the fall semester as well and get that sort of going. Start talking, hey, what do you like? What do you not like, right? Maybe we join the same club. Maybe this is how you get involved. Start having those conversations. This is the time to do it. Make sure that they take out of orientation as much information as possible. Best thing that will happen to students at orientation is that they will again meet the student leaders. Every orientation group is going to have orientation leaders, and these are not just students at Hunter, they're leaders at Hunter, and that means they're involved in the community in various ways. Some of them are presidents of their clubs, some of them are USG president. This year we had our USG president running orientation group. The year before we had a USG undergraduate student government vice president in orientation leader cohort. Orientation leaders have studied abroad. They have done internships. They're part of honors programs. They do all these cool things at Hunter. And the idea here is that your students will see, hey, I can do these things too. So again, encourage your student to not just attend orientation, but actually soak in information coming at them. It's going to be a lot of info, but it's going to be really useful information for them. And the best part, again, they will be meeting their classmates. So everybody coming to orientation is going to be a first-year student at Hunter in the fall 2025 semester. Our incoming class is like 3,000 and change students. So that's 3,000 opportunities for them to make best friends for life. We hope that orientation day is going to kick off that, hey, we can be friends thing, and then let's be in each other's weddings 10 years later. But they will need to take that step forward. They will need to make sure that they say, hey, I want to make this opportunity the best thing that happened to me. I need to make sure I deliver and show up to this orientation day. So we ask you to please help us encourage them do that as you go along as well. Now, probably one of the coolest things that they will get this summer, and this is even before they come to orientation, is there's big thing. We're going to be inviting them to bonus summer events. The reason I say this, it's a bonus, it's because they technically not at orientation yet, right? Orientation is happening in August, right before classes start. It's a chance for them to kind of get everything situated right before they have to start. But summer events are going to be social activities just for them. It'll be a ton of freshmen who are here to go to a museum all together, go to a picnic in Central Park. The idea here is that, again, they will start building their college connections early. So please encourage them to check their emails, check their Hunter email as much as possible, and really sign up for these and attend these events to make sure that they get started with us as early as possible. A lot of you have questions in the chat on sort of what's next for your student, right? So we talked about orientation. You know orientation is coming in August. But if you're like, what is orientation? My student doesn't know what's happening. I'm here just because I didn't know this existed. Every student, once they deposited to Hunter and once they said, hey, I'm coming, Hunter is my school of choice, received something called the new student guide. The new student guide literally has very basic steps, and this is to get the ball rolling. So issue sort of item number one or step number one is always submitting your immunization records. The instructions are right on the website. Everything's provided. Some of you have questions already about it in the Q&A. Pretty easy instructions. They have to upload it. It takes a couple of days. The system checks it, and then they will get a confirmation saying everything's good to go. A second step, and probably by far the most important step in their college career, is really claiming their My Hunter email. I will preface this by saying that My Hunter email is going to be a one-stop for everything. If there's ever a scholarship, My Hunter email is where it's going to be sent to. Orientation invitation, it's going to be sent to my Hunter email. Things like study abroad opportunities, things like internships, career services, college fairs, right? Like anything career fairs related, anything that has to do with cool opportunities at Hunter will come to their My Hunter email. So if you take anything out of this parent orientation, my advice is make sure you are on top of them to get the My Hunter email on their phones, get it into their systems, make sure that they check it literally daily, if not more than that. You probably all, as humans, as professionals, keep tabs on things that come to you sort of every 20 minutes. Get your student in the habit of doing that with My Hunter email. Professors will be emailing My Hunter email only. Any assignments sent, any changes in classes, any alerts, anything, deadlines for payments, deadlines for financial aid filing workshops, right? Like all that stuff is going to be sent to My Hunter email. So make sure My Hunter email is their #1 priority. The last step of this new enrollment student guide is the orientation. You've heard about all the cool stuff that they will be doing at orientation. So really need your help in making sure that your students are registered for orientation for the coming August dates. Orientation attendance is required in order to get their fall 2025 schedule. So you want to make sure that they sign up now. Don't wait. You want them to get this done as soon as possible. Now, something that's really cool and really new this year is something called the pre-orientation online module. Essentially what we're doing is we're giving students a chance to learn a little bit of information before they even come to our orientation day. And the reason we're doing this is because one day in person with 1,000 students can feel a little overwhelming. So the online orientation module has a few different resources that students can review, they can go over, they can go back to this orientation module. There are links that they can save for future use. It tells them about their degree. It tells them about how to access resources on campus. It tells them how to sign up for all these events we just talked about. It tells them how to make their photo ID acceptable for the mobile ID thing, right? Like the online pre-orientation module is covering a lot of the bases to make sure that when they come to orientation, at least they have some concept of what's going on. So the orientation day is really meaningful for them. So again, if you're talking to students, 1, make sure they check their Hunter email. 2, make sure they sign up for orientation. We've only sent invitation, I don't know, every day for the last month. And then 3, make sure that they complete the pre-orientation module to get a good sense of sort of what's to come, what's coming at them at orientation. Now, I know that there's always a lot of sort of questions, what happens when and so forth. So I think it's important for us to kind of address this a little bit here. A lot of you students will say, I've never heard of this. What are you talking about? I don't know what I'm doing. Where do I go from here? All the next steps are in the new student guide that I just covered, and that's at hunter.cuny.edu/admitted. We try to make sure everything's public. So if your student is really lost, period, and never seen an email from us, they can literally just Google Hunter College admitted student. And the first page that will pop up will be this page, and it gives them an outline of everything they've got to do. What happens if the student wants to change their major? A lot of that will be covered at orientation. First semester schedule is generally built on their preferences that they select for orientation registration. So if they select bio, a lot of their classes may be introductory science, math courses, and so forth. If a student is unsure, but they know they may be interested in something sociology or anthropology, right, social sciences related, whatever major seems the closest to that first semester, it should be what's selected on their freshman orientation RSVP. Advising team will make sure that they build that first semester schedule to touch a little bit of intro classes on a few different areas and cover some of the general education requirements. It is not binding. That orientation registration form, it is not a binding major. So if they're like, hey, I thought I liked anthropology 20 seconds ago, but now I'm really interested in physics, your student will be able to shift into that field or shift into the intro classes for that in their second semester of freshman year. So remember that whole let them explore, let them try out different things. First semester classes will take care of general core requirements regardless of major. So you want to make sure that you give them the flexibility to really explore, and they can always pivot a little bit once they hear. Again, this information will be covered at orientation, so make sure they RSVP and attend. And then a big question that we always get is, how does my student find friends at Hunter? Attending orientation is step #1. That is where you will meet friends. That is where you meet classmates. That is where you meet class leaders, orientation leaders, student leaders, sort of everybody and anybody on Hunter campus. Make sure you encourage your student to take that first step and actually say, hey, I want to be part of all these cool things. Now, the one thing that I always hear and always see in the Q&A is my student hasn't received anything. I am ready to bet that that is not true. We have sent them probably too many emails at this point. We may have even texted them, and you may have received a card from us in the mail already, right? Which means that we've tried sort of everything outside of sending a pigeon to your house. Check with your student. Make sure they're checking their My Hunter email. That is the only place they will be receiving Hunter information, and that is the only way that they will get all the Hunter updates. So again, make sure that that's part of their daily routine. If your student is telling you still that that's not a thing and they haven't heard or seen anything, our admissions team is here to help out. So our admissions team, admissions email can definitely assist. You see the information on the website. And again, if your student just Googles Hunter College admitted student, our contact information will be right on that page as well. I think that covers probably majority of the things that we wanted to tell you a little bit. And I hope that this sort of parent orientation helps you prep and understand what's happening next for your student. So I'm going to bring Joe back to give you a few Hawk parent tips on sort of wrap us up a little bit. And I think Joe's frozen.
Yeah, I'm here. Hello, everyone. We hope that last hour or so of content was really useful. We've enjoyed talking to you, and we just have one last section for you to talk about a couple of tips and major takeaways to sum our session, and then we'll break for a Q&A and we'll part ways. So Hawk tip number 1. We want to make sure that you encourage your students to join clubs, go to events, and engage in the Hunter community. This is a really important one. Obviously, they're here to learn. They're here to get their degree. They're here to do well and excel in the classroom. College is and should be a lot more than that. We have a lot to offer here at Hunter, that much of what you heard this evening. So we encourage your student to take advantage of that as much as possible. Okay, Hawk tip number 2. Drum roll, please. Build student accountability. Remember what I said in the very beginning in our first section, to let your students drive. There's going to be an increased level of independence. Also remember FERPA, have that discussion with your student and sign the form if you all feel appropriate. Have your student sign the form if you all feel appropriate. But remember, your student is now truly independent and will be taking most of these decisions themselves with you as sort of their coach. Hawk tip number 3. Remind your student to ask for help and use the available resources. This could be extremely helpful for them. In moments of stress, it could be that they're not sure and they don't remember where to turn. Remind them that there's so many resources here at this institution for them to help support them inside the classroom and also outside the classroom. And Hawk tip number 4, this is a great resource for all of you. I would bookmark this page. This is a very public website. You go to hunter.cuny.edu/students. You get a really great overview of all the different services that we offer here, and also it links you to the academic calendar. That gives you an idea of what they're going to experience throughout the semester and also throughout the year. That includes days off, that includes when classes start, and important deadlines. So that's great information for you as parents, guardians, and supporters to be able to check out. And our final Hawk tip, number 5, you've heard this mentioned throughout the evening, but I'd like to reiterate this. File your FAFSA and your TAP application and Excelsior application, if it's applicable to you, on an annual basis. The vast majority in this room this evening have done so already for the upcoming year. But if you haven't, we recommend that you do it as soon as possible. And remember, this is an annual task. If you go to the website there that you're seeing on the slide here, you could learn a little bit more about how financial aid works. And most importantly, you'll be able to link to the workshops that they offer. They'll be really important for your student. We're going to be covering financial aid in a lot of depth throughout in-person orientation, and also it's covered in the pre-orientation online module as well. There's a lot to cover in financial aid, but that's a great resource for all of you. So with that, I'd like to bring back all of my colleagues onto the screen who have presented this evening. And we want to make sure to give you one last one last opportunity to ask questions. You all have asked amazing questions, and we have a fantastic, very active team in the background answering all of your questions, but I want to make sure that we've gotten to everything. And so now is your opportunity to ask any additional questions before we part ways.
Joe, I have a question that came in
Yeah.
for me directly,
Mhm.
and this one is for Christina about Career Services. The parents are asking, what is the best time to encourage our student to come see your office, and is freshman year too early?
I would say freshman year is not too early. I think, given the first couple months of their freshman semester, you want them to acclimate to the campus environment, seeing what resources are available. But we do encourage them to come by at some point during their freshman year to get a jump start, right? It's never too early. And the earlier they do start to prepare, the more set up for success they will be when they start to build out their network and secure internship opportunities, right? You are 80% more likely to get an interview if you go through a referral, and that's all part of building out that network. So I encourage them as early as freshmen to walk through our doors, with the likelihood that they'll start really thinking about internships in their sophomore year. But it's never too early, especially if they are looking for part-time employment or have received federal work study and want to work on campus. We can help square them up with a resume that is ready to go.
Excellent. I have one that just came through, and this is also for our advising team. So Chrissy, the question is, when does my student get registered for classes? His friend is registered, but he is not yet.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are registering students every day. So we appreciate everyone being so proactive. If you've already RSVP'd for orientation, that is wonderful. I know it's hard to wait. I know everyone's super anxious to see their class schedule, but we just appreciate your patience. We have 3,000 students to register. So by the end of this month, if not sooner, the goal would be sooner, you can certainly expect your schedule as long as you have already RSVP'd for orientation. And please, everybody, keep an eye on your email. Even if you've already seen a schedule and gone into CUNY First and poked around, we will be sending more information on schedules in the next few weeks to everybody.
Remember, students only.
Great, thank you. And also just as a reminder, if you haven't done so, if your student hasn't done so already, register for orientation. That's what triggers the schedule creation. So the in-person orientation is a key enrollment step for your students. Most of them have registered for orientation by now, but do check in. It's a great opportunity to do so. Okay. Do we have any other questions that have come in?
There is a question about housing that I think we can answer. A lot of students are asking, not students, parents are asking, what should I expect? What should I prep? And this is a good point to kind of address. Housing information will be sent to students a little closer to move-in date. You'll get sort of ideas on packing list, what comes in the room, what doesn't. So again, connect with your student. I think this is probably the most important point of orientation. Connection to your student is going to be our answer to a lot of things, because a lot of this information is going to be connected to them. A lot of information will be shared with them, their schedules, what to prep, where to go, right? First day of classes, when that is, will be sent to your student, not to you. So you want to make sure you keep that line of communication going.
And also, as far as housing goes, like Irina said, we do send a list of stuff that they can bring. We also send a list of prohibited items. Please make sure that you read that as well, because we have a lot of students bring air fryers, and air fryers aren't allowed and stuff like that. So we just want to make sure you guys are as prepared as possible. We give you bed sizes and everything you may need and all of that. And as always, you can always email living@hunter, and we'll be able to answer any questions for you.
Okay. I think I have another question for Chrissy, not Christina, sorry. Chrissy, I have a few parents asking, what if my student doesn't know what they want to study in college? How should I encourage them to proceed?
Yeah, another great question. So for like the immediate future, on their schedule form that they're filling out when they RSVP for orientation, put something they're interested in, right? Students have until they earn 60 credits before they really have to declare a major. And chances are, even if they declare a major now, they will make a change. So if you're completely unsure, that's where I would start. Part of the beauty of the curriculum at Hunter College is also, in addition to major courses, students are taking core courses or general requirements, right? And these are classes in everything from English to math to social sciences, natural sciences, etc. And these courses are a wonderful opportunity for students to explore a variety of different areas, but they still need these classes, right? So there's not a concern that they're taking things that will just back them up and push graduation out longer. So I encourage students to kind of embrace those classes, ask questions. Also, getting involved on campus is a really wonderful way to kind of help see what students are interested in. There's tons of clubs and organizations. Many of them are academic or professional. So if a student may be thinking about law school, go to a club meeting, for that, and just talk to other students who have started down that path. Talk to your professors, right? If you're thinking about majoring in biology, but you're like, well, what do I do with that? Go on the website, see who the biology faculty are, ask to set up a meeting with them or go to their office hours and just say, hey, I want to learn. Faculty love that. So those are some suggestions I would have. We also on the website have a kind of career and personal interest assessment. It's called the Focus 2. If you just type that into the search page on Hunter's website, it should come up. And that's kind of a fun way for students to answer questions about themselves, and it'll populate some suggestions.
Joe, I have a good question for you. There's a parent who's asking, what do you think makes a successful student at Hunter? What do they need to be successful?
That is a great question. And I think that means something a little different. Than the word success means something a little different, I think, depending on who you are and your perspective on things. But in general, I think it is someone who, obviously, it goes without saying, takes your academics seriously and succeeds in the classroom, right? That's an essential, but someone who truly is taking advantage of all the resources that we took you through this evening. This is someone that is going to graduate here with a network, not only of friends who also become professional connections, but also a network of faculty members and have taken advantage of every opportunity that we have put in front of them. That is someone that is really, truly getting their money and time worth, and getting everything out of their degree that they possibly can to take that next step.
Joe, I think that's pretty much covering a lot of the things we talked
Great.
about. IDs, we talked
Excellent.
about orientation.
Great.
Any parting
Fantastic.
thoughts, Joe?
Yeah, I think just another plug we've said this a number of times, so we're going to say it again. The in-person orientation in August, yes, is mandatory. I think one question flew in that asked about that, whether it's Macaulay orientation or whether it's the general orientation for everyone here at Hunter. Yes, it is mandatory. It is key to starting successfully here at Hunter. And alongside of that, like has been mentioned, the pre-orientation online module for all of your students to take advantage and really create a nice, strong foundation so they get the most out of that orientation day. Tell your students to be on the lookout to check their email and also text messages about the social activities and other updates throughout the summer. So I just want to say that as your students begin their journey here at Hunter, remember they're not doing it alone, and also neither are you. We hope you feel that way after this evening's program. Together, we really will help your student rise to thrive here at Hunter and also in the greatest city in the world. We welcome you, a warm welcome you to the Hunter family. We're so excited for you and your student to be a part of our long storied 155-year history here at Hunter. So we wish you all the best. We hope you have a great evening, and we really look forward to seeing you over the next 4 years and beyond.
Bye, everyone.